Welcome to another edition of A Strange New Pod. I am your captain and host, Julian Brown, alongside... No. I said hold the dragon, lower the drawbridge. Got it. All right. Sorry. As always, I am joined alongside the best bridge crew and D&D players. A lot of D&D players in this group.
Damn straight.
This side of Beta Z, Rear Admiral Eric, who alongside Brittany would more than likely be the one of us to own and live on a Ren Fair in space. Then speaking of Lieutenant Brittany, who, as we find out in this episode once again, is the total embodiment of Beckett Mariner. Lieutenant Hawk, who I'm going to guess is a giant turkey leg kind of guy. Yeah? No.
A medium turkey leg sort of guy?
Medium? No.
You sound like turkey?
I like turkey.
Come on, man.
And finally, Commander Giraffe, who completely unrelated to D&D, now has the cheesesteak button on her replicator on speed dial. Glory to you and your houses.
Glory to you.
I was going to say, and Beth
Good
nominated Julian Brown at the beginning with, it wasn't even a real dragon. It was actually just a tennis ball on a stick. All of that was simply him and his imagination.
Yes. Yeah. Indeed.
Actors Round Table.
Doing
Genius.
it.
Glorious.
Doing it well. Just a quick update on our friend and awesome co-host, Ensign Admiral Erin, the master of all pips and mug life. We talked today. I think she's going to be able to make her triumphant return next week, but we will actually have mailbag from her tonight. So you'll want to stick around for that. And unrelated to Star Trek, but I don't know how many people know on the stream or not, but Brittany and I've already met Giraffe a few months ago in San Diego, but we got to meet in our home state and city in Philadelphia and have dinner and cheesesteaks, and it was a really good time. So it was good to see
Traveling Giraffe.
Traveling Giraffe. It was great.
They got to get you to Canada.
Nope, we can't.
Some
now we have
maple syrup and Timmy Hortons.
Now we have vaccine passports. That's what we're dealing with now.
Yeah.
Soon.
Well, luckily for you, I'm vaccinated. So
Yay.
I'll just slide under the border.
I think you guys can come up here, but we can't go to the States.
You can't come to us or some bullshit.
I mean, it's for the best. You don't want to be down here.
No.
Statistically, you don't want to be down here.
Speaking of glory to your houses, Hawk is rocking this amazing. We're all rocking awesome shirts from Star Trek, except for Eric.
Nope, I'm a golf shirt and
golf shirting it up. But I love it. I love the geekdom. To our friends on the Twitch Collective, let us assimilate your comments, questions all stream long. We want to hear from you this week. Billups is royalty, probably Ace, and his mom lives on a Ren Fair in space. I kind of unintentionally rhymed.
Sound like a Dr. Seuss book. I fucking love it.
Let's make it. Let's write it for the pod. And if that didn't already excite you about this episode, Jeffrey fucking Combs, the man, the myth, the legend, makes his triumphant return to the Trek universe. We unpack where pleasant fountains lie. But first, Hawk.
Yeah.
We have to thank our awesome Patreon collective at the Ready Room level and above, good sir.
Let me call that up here. All right. Everybody who supports this wonderful podcast, we appreciate you so much. Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Spotted Giraffe.
Who's that?
Our newest member. The R to the O to the B, Rob. Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Noe Santos, Kang Wee, Haven, Takako Nagumo, Kara Kennedy, Mark, Fernando Nogales, SMK, Ian Davies, and Amy Grace.
Woo woo! Thank you.
I will say that's the best reading you've done yet, Hawk.
Yeah.
First name for the first time didn't trip you up. You were like, boom, done. Here you go.
Done. Fire.
Whatever you ate and drank today, do it again next week.
Jemadar tears. Billup tears. Yeah. Guys, to find out more about our Patreon collective and how to join, just head over to strangenewpod.com and click on join the collective. And you can also, while you're there, check out our ever expanding website. We have a blog now. Fun stuff. There's going to be a new blog post tomorrow on Noonien Singh, which is exciting. Also very quickly, because of issues and things going on with Aaron and her taking a little bit of a break, we're not going to have a Drunk Space 9 this month, but we will figure something out for you. We have something in the works that we're not going to quite share yet because we have to plan it out, but that'll come in about a month's time in between Lower Decks and Prodigy. So just keep that on the good old brain. So that's it. Let's get to my favorite part of the show, and that is the strange new loop. And
I love that sound.
folks, what is the one item from D&D or Ren Fair that you could use to decorate the whole of your starship that would make people go, yep, that's their ship, all right? Who wants to go first?
Oh, I will obviously go first as a
Well, as the bard of the group.
as the bard of the group. It's all going to be decorated with toot toot magic flutes. So
As you, could you imagine?
at Warp it just goes.
Prestidigitation everywhere.
everywhere.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it. Toot toot magic flute.
So,
yeah.
If any of you have probably seen me wear this in real life, because I wear this when I'm DMing for D&D, and I got it at a Ren Fair, but I have these bracers that go from like here to here on my arm on both sides, and they are dragon scale. Obviously not real dragon scale, because we live in the real world where dragons aren't.
This is ruined my life.
It's very it's really cool because it goes rainbow colors, so it's like red all the way to like blue, and it's
Nice.
just awesome. So yeah, I would get that rainbow dragon scaling, put it on the sides of my ship, so that way I'm zooming up, everything's all glowing and cool, but then you're like, hey, that's right, it's the gay nerd captain. And then you just know. And I'm like, well, I don't want to drag on too long.
Are you f***ing kidding me?
Amazing.
I was so hyped to press that. Yes.
But yeah, that would be my choice, I guess.
And we learned from Shang-Chi that dragon scales are stronger than anything. So
They are.
I learned that
just
from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, hey, good job. Before Giraffe, Hawk, and I go, I'm going to quickly move to Twitch. Jay Crapsap says a shield with my crest. I dig that quite a bit. Lexi did just want to make sure that we all know that Eric toots as he pleases.
damn straight.
And Haven, Sci-Fi Haven Gaming goes, I would decorate it with luminance cubes. So
Shiny.
yeah. Who's next? Giraffe, Hawk.
You want to go first?
I go. Okay. I'm
Keep
going.
you.
Yeah.
Someone do it.
So first of all, I have to admit, I'm very ashamed that I've never been to a Ren Fair because I come from Europe, where we
Or
live in
just
Ren
regular
fairs,
life?
you know, all day, all year long.
Like we have a castle in the middle of our town that's older than the United States.
Exactly.
Perspective.
So I don't really know, and I'm more a Cthulhu kind of girl, I have to admit too. So
Lord,
I'd like
praise.
all
Lovecraft
master, all
country
lord.
represent.
Mhm.
I
Any snub.
represent.
Goddamn.
So I think I'd like something with tentacles. Like that's the thing. Like people would be, oh, that's her right away.
You could be
Nice.
like
Red glowing
Nyarlathotep
eyes,
in
too.
space, just like
Exactly.
It's that thing that's attached to the Cerritos in the intro. That's all that your ship is.
Yeah.
when you come out of warp
Exactly.
and another ship sees you, they're like, oh no, we're gonna Cthulhu's.
Get off my bridge.
You know what? Puns are my Lovecraft.
I have to say that I've seen
HP
her
was
do that
terrible,
He
live
was.
in a restaurant to a poor waitress that didn't know what was hitting her.
I tipped her
every
so
time.
well.
I'm so
Yo,
sorry.
This waitress at Amada,
The worst
she,
though.
the first pun that Brittany make, she just like, I don't know if she did roll her eyes. I felt like she rolled her eyes and walked away.
The
And then-
energy was here.
and then-
It's a nice restaurant, so
and
I
then
think it was
didn't-
just like below her pay grade.
It did not come back for a very long time after that.
Another waitress showed up instead.
Yeah.
So I think she literally had to take a break before she came back.
You
to her table.
energy vampired the waitress.
I really
with
did.
your
Exactly.
But then in the end, remember, I was like, that was tapas service because we had tapas, and I was trying to, you know, be very nice to her, saying she did a great job, and she literally looked at me and went, uh-huh. And I was like, get it, because you give us tapas? And I was like, okay, here's the check. Bye.
Here's 30% tip.
Oh, we tipped well.
Oh, yeah.
We tipped well. We always tip well, but we tipped well. Hawk, you're up, my friend.
All right. So again, just like Giraffe, never been to a Ren's Fair. So not much of a D&D player in that. So, but
You
from D&D,
son of a bitch.
I know.
Look
If I
at you
was
yet,
gonna-
Hawk.
If I was gonna decorate a shit with something D&D related, I have to go back to the Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore from the Forgotten Realms
Yes,
series.
that's
That's
the
fair.
most D&D. Woo.
That is.
Nice.
Love that book when I was a kid. So it'd have to be like Drazit Do'Urden's like twin scimitars, probably
Yes.
adorning the front.
These
Would
are
you
great
paint
answers.
a panther on the side too?
Damn.
Maybe.
Spray paint.
With the moon.
Graffiti.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
Hawk was here.
Remember that one guy that always did the audio for those books and was like, in Menzo Baranzan, Drizdo Worden and his party traveled north. And you were just like, can you, come on, man.
No, you got to eat that up. Eat it up.
I know.
So
Did I still listen? Yes.
in the little D&D I've played, I'm a wizard, I'm a mage. I like magic, and I like staffs. I'm a staff guy. So like really intricate, cool, like carved staffs like Gandalf and Kana from Kana Bridge of Spirits, which Brittany and I are playing right now.
Shout out.
How is that?
It's so good.
It's so fun.
It's gorgeous.
It's so fun.
I keep
It's just like
stopping every 2
chill.
seconds.
And you know what? I can play it with Cecily, and she's like asking to play it, and that is exactly what I wanted to get out of it. So
No.
It's a great game. 10 out of
I
10.
would my warp nacelles would be like beautifully intricately carved like staff
Wizard
looking
staffs.
things with crystals, as the Bussard collectors. And yeah,
And the little rots are on top of it with little hats.
Oh my god.
yeah,
Julian-
the little yes.
If you had those staves as the nacelles with your little crystals and stuff, then Skeksis would attack you and be like, little gelfling, you thought you could travel to space.
No, now you just
Crystal.
depressed me because that show is never coming back.
Yo, that was so good though.
So good. If you've not watched the Dark Crystal Netflix series, it's only one season, but it is worth your time. So, but to Star Trek, shall we? Shall we do this? Shall we get there? Let's do it. Where pleasant fountains lie. Can I just say I love the name of this episode too? It's a very Star Trek title. Go ahead, Giraffe. What are you going to say?
Do you know what it means?
Is it a reference?
Yeah,
Is it about
that's
a
why.
penis?
I mean,
She's like, is it a dick joke in ancient Greek? Yes.
Probably.
it's Shakespeare, and I have the quote actually.
Do it.
I have to find things in my phone. I took notes. I like to do that.
Mhm.
So the exact thing, please imagine like that I can say Shakespeare well. Graze on my lips, and if those hills be dry, stray lower where the pleasant fountains lie.
Ooh, I love it.
I shall be
It's a
park and thou
dirty
shalt be
title.
heavier.
It is a dirty title. I love it.
Definitely.
Venus and Adonis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into reviewing this episode. And Hawk, you are up first this week, my friend. What do you got?
All right. So I think I'm a very easy person to please in that. This is another great episode of the season. We learned a lot about Billups. I don't think Billups has had a lot of screen time this season in that. So it was nice that we got an episode that was centered around him and basically the warped life he comes from. He comes from obviously this polyamorous, very fluid sexual society and their sex is like codified into their culture and into their authority systems.
It sounds great.
Right? You think?
Or terrible, depending
More
on
terrible. That's true. Yeah.
If you're Billups, apparently this is terrible in that. Billups he kind of establishes himself as the rebel that we kind of see a lot in Starfleet. Somebody kind of joins Starfleet to get away from their culture. So in this case, his greatest love in life obviously is like an efficient warp nacelle and that. And
Mhm.
Hey, you know what they say? Sex nacelles.
Sex.
But we
Oh my god!
Kidding me?
It took me a second.
Dude, the audible groan from Giraffe was like,
yeah, that just
it was
came
worth
in.
it. I'm going to live another 20 years just from that interaction. I'm just refueled.
And we also get a little more on Billups than that. Obviously he seems very body conscious. He's shy. It's like this whole lifestyle is not for him and that. And I know some people have been mentioning they got some Luoxana Troy's vibes from the mother and that the Hesperian Queen Polona. I'm reading that right.
Yes.
Anyways, she makes Luoxana look like Mother Teresa and that. Her plan was verged on the psychotic. I think we can all agree.
There's something about Trek mothers, man. Like Trek moms are just psycho.
When are we
Sometimes,
doing an
yeah.
episode about Trek parents?
We need to.
I have
When
opinions.
The best and worst of Trek
eventually when there's
from
no
Benjamin
new
Sisko.
Trek, which doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, we'll go back to
2024.
those fun episodes.
We'll be,
Somebody write down
we'll
that
be
topic.
80.
Yeah. Remember, Cisco was the best, and then what was the name of that lady who blew up her shit to get her son laid? Yeah, that lady, she was the worst.
That one.
Write that down because
God.
like next summer we're going to be like dying for like topics and that. So
Mhm.
that's a good one.
Maybe.
And in the B plot or do I call it a B plot?
The
I feel like
other
they were
plots.
both A plots this week,
They
honestly.
seem
Yeah.
like it, right?
You're
yeah.
saying they were both dominant plots and there was no subplot?
Yeah.
In the Boimler Mariner team up plot we got this week, A or B, who knows? We got the return of Jeffrey Combs, and it was another knockout role for him. The sentient computer Armagus.
Yes.
If I remember
Mhm.
correctly.
It's a good name for a
Agimus.
It's
Agimus, that's
Latin.
right. Yeah.
Amagus.
Yeah.
If there's some Australian on the show, he was fantastic in that. The constant manipulation of Mariner and Boimler was hilarious, like all the way through. And it also had another good storyline for Boimler and Mariner in that. I thought that turning of Boimler during it might have been a little cliche after the whole episode about the Section 31 rumors and that, but
Oh, see, okay, go ahead.
yeah. In the end, it actually gave us a storyline where Boimler kind of showed he had grown a little bit, even with
Mhm.
Mariner's interference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jeff, you're up.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I think it may be my favorite so far. And it's like I like these like stupid TOS planets where suddenly it's the Middle Ages for no freaking reason. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Renfair planet. I want to see this. I'm about it. They're like the anti-Vulcan,
Yeah.
They have a lot of similarity to the Iosians, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah, right.
Like someone gave them a D&D playbook and we're like, this is your Bible. And that's what
I
happened.
imagine it's like, oh, we discovered a planet with dragons and a bunch of people that are into Renfair is like,
They're
colonize
like, finally, it's
it.
alive. Let's go.
Mhm.
And I like that energy. I respect that energy. I like the when like Tandy, I think, looks at the LCARs of the plane of the ship, and there's like a dragon. There's like a lot of horses for no reasons. I'm like, bring it. I'm about it. So I really like this because I want like more stupid planets and stuff. And I really like the other A plot with Mariner and Boims, because I was
Boims.
legit surprised. I was like, wait, he's gonna shoot her! Shoot her!
They shot her.
And it was 6 a.m. by the way, so I was like, trying to. I love the references. There are a lot of like weird reference, like the Moravine and stuff like that. Looks like out there. I like it. I like it a lot.
Nice. Eric.
Hello.
Castle's that way.
Yes,
Don't
I love
wash you it that way.
fun fact time. I like this episode. I wasn't on last week, but I wasn't the biggest fan of last week's episode. I thought it was, it was all right.
Yeah.
But this week, just popped it back up. Not enough D&D, I say. Not enough.
Yeah.
They touched it a little bit. I was like, you can do better. But that's okay.
It was like
because
a whiff of D&D, and I was like, give me more.
I know. I was like, who rolled the ones here? No,
You guys watch like so much D&D live streams and live stream D&D every week. Not enough D&D.
But I want to see it in Star Trek.
Give me the IV of
I
Dragon's
have seen
blood.
every single episode of Critical Role ever, and it is not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not.
I liked it. I like that. Just even like for D&D players, you see little Easter eggs of different classes and stuff on the planet, and I'm just like, oh fuck yeah, that's awesome. But the relationship between oh god, I can't remember the names right now. Billups and his mom was great. It's very tropey Star Trek, and you know what? In this version, it's not bad. I know there was a lot of backlash against the sex scene in Mugado Gumado, so I wonder how people are gonna take this, even though I don't think either is very,
Well, so I hope we don't get like canceled for saying this, because I think it's absolutely true, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I feel like this is very true for Trek fans. I feel like half of the Trek fan community are very like open about their sexuality, and like sex jokes are funny and sex is awesome, and I like to speak and talk about sex. And I feel like there is another half of Star Trek fans in the community that, in the nicest way possible, I don't say this as an insult, or a bit prude, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
But like I feel like that's a thing. So I get some people not liking it while others.
Yeah.
I would say those people are more interior people, and
Yeah.
you find that a lot. That's
Like
why
a little introverted. Yeah.
And to be fair, this is an adult
I don't
cartoon.
know, man. I'm
right?
introverted in some aspects and not in others. So.
True.
I think I mean, I understand the people having problem with like sex scenes. I'm one of these person. Lo and behold, like if it doesn't serve the plot,
plot.
very often I'm just like the plot.
Well, fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I watch Star Trek only for the plot, right?
She has pictures of like
Wait, hold up,
Fox
Ethan
ads
Peck.
everywhere.
Hold up, Ethan Peck.
yeah,
No,
I
but,
don't really
like,
have a problem with that. No, go ahead.
Yeah, in Lower Deck it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
it's
just
a
It's not gratuitous, right?
comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's comedic. So yeah.
Also, this is TV MA, so you really, if you're,
Mhm.
concerned that your kids are being corrupted or whatever, I watch it with my kids.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't be. It's right there
They
at the
pretty much go
beginning of
over
the
their
episode.
heads.
I know.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've probably seen worse on other channels that you can't prevent them from watching.
Exactly. I like so to continue the Billups plot, I like that Rutherford is so like he's such a I don't want to say bro, but he's such a good friend to Billups that he's like, I gotta stop him from having sex. He loves engineering. That's his passion. Like that's totally such a Rutherford thing to do. And that's why I love him more and more every episode. He's just a good friend. I want him to be my friend.
Yeah.
Mr. Cordero, not Cordero,
Mr. Eugene.
Eugene
Cordero. Yeah.
Cordero, I was right. Okay, I was for some reason
yeah.
my brain went blank. I was like, please be my friend. On the the Jeffrey Combs plot, I'm just gonna say that he plays the most manipulative people on Star Trek, and it's so good every single time he's
so
on.
good.
And as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, huh? My Enterprise ears went up, and I was like, yay!
Your Andorian antennae.
Exactly. They just went.
I love when he said, "Oh, I've just deleted my manipulative subroutines. I want to join Starfleet. Send me to the Academy."
Yeah.
Joe on Twitch says Star Trek Strange New Worlds or the hottest star is, I think you tried to say, is the hottest Trek
You
show.
Yeah.
know
It's
No,
true.
it.
Yeah,
It's
like
true.
It is true. I have
very
to
true.
rewatch, like even Discovery, the season 2. I had to rewatch whole episode because I watched them and I was like, I have no clue what happened in that
Yeah.
episode. I need to rewatch that. What actually is
It's so
happening?
true.
Amazing.
Like when they put this EV suit, I lose IQ. I lose I go.
She like can't read Latin anymore. She's like,
I love her.
Latin
I
or
forget how to
Latinum?
breathe. I
So-
forget how to breathe, and I'm like.
So I have a friend
Rewind.
that works on the
Amazing.
sets in Toronto for both
Shut up.
Discovery and Strange New Worlds.
Eric
Eric knows everybody.
Well, with it's like the film and entertainment thing all like intermingles, but he was like, it's distracting walking on set because you're just like hot, and the crew is apparently also very good looking. So you're just like, oh my god, where do I look?
Behind the scenes stuff, the crew is very good looking as
I don't
well.
know.
It's
Sorry to go the Boimler plot. I like that he's gaining more and more confidence as the season goes on, and will Mariner see him more as an equal moving forward? I feel like maybe it would be nice. He's getting smarter with what he's doing, and I think he's learning that street smart that Mariner always wanted him to get, and I appreciate that. And then to end off with the giant wall of evil computers, and I'm pretty sure there was a Dell right beside it.
Dude,
Amazing.
I love that part. It's just like a
It was
bunch of
her
evil
Dell.
routers.
Yeah, they
You're
look-
like,
The one with the New York
this week,
accent,
like legit wasn't.
the bad
Yeah.
New York accent
Yeah,
looked
the one
like
that was
a.
like, "Your bow sucks. Shut up.
Computer's all about.
You don't even know."
Yep, that's it.
Brittany, you're up.
I don't even know what to say on top of everything else, but I loved this episode. I agree with Eric that I wish it as soon as they introduced the Ren pair aspect, like I had hoped there would be a little more for that D&D aspect, especially because I didn't watch this until like an hour before we were going to record, and I kept seeing everybody's comments in Discord, and they're like, ah. So I was thinking like, oh, they're going to do real D&D stuff. That aside, I love this episode. I loved all the plots. I really love that Rutherford got to like have a moment to shine on his own with Billups, because I love that they keep doing those different dynamics like we mentioned that we wanted to see this season. So now we finally saw someone who isn't Lower Decks who got a moment to shine. You get to see more of his backstory. And then you also got to see how Rutherford interacts with that. And like the stakes are still there. Tendy's worried that he dies. But it was just so nice to see how much he cares for, like, you know, somebody who he sees as like his boss basically and wants to help him out. And I love that the episode centered on this like very sex-centered sort of society, and the fact that Billups is just like, no, I don't want to do that, and it's a completely valid thing. People, you know, you can have sex or not.
Yep,
it's totally cool, guys. You don't have to do it. Virginity is a construct. It's not a real thing.
That's a fact.
Don't let people shame you.
I have to say that I cracked up at every single joke about engineers being virgins because I'm that basic. And yeah.
You're not basic. I'm drinking pumpkin spice beer right now, pumpkin pie beer. So.
You win.
I just love that they love the warp core that much.
Yeah.
I liked, like, I felt bad for him even. Like, I knew he was going to be saved before he ended up having to have sex. But the fact that he was just like, do I have to? And everything. And like, you know, like you would be like a Rutherford if you had a friend who was, you know, asexual, or somebody who was not comfortable with something being coerced into like a situation. Like you'd be the same way. You'd be like, I got to stop this before it happens. I can't let it happen. So I love that.
Running into horses.
Billups is ripped. Okay, Billups is Billups has abs.
Dude, you're climbing through. You're climbing through Jeffrey. You're climbing through Jeffrey tubes every day. Like,
but I like that they did that. They didn't just make it like, because you've seen Boimler without his shirt on, and like Boimler's just like a square with like 2 nipple dots, you know, and you're just like, that makes sense.
But it's Boimler.
You know, they had to add padding to his costume to make him feel like a captain. And then you see Billups, and you're like, damn.
You see that moment when the towel drops and that, and the, you know, porno Jamie Lannister and the other, they're taking a good long look.
A long
porno
look?
Jamie Lannister.
I thought about
that was a great reference.
Oh god. Dude, those characters, I couldn't. The voice acting for them was just like ridiculous.
It was so
good.
So over the top and delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then of course the Mariner Boimler plot. I just love seeing their antics, and holy shit, Julian knows. He already said this when he saw the screener for this episode, but he's just like, Mariner is Brittany. Like, I don't know why. Like, she just
I was just gonna be like, just like when we watched the season 1 episode screener, I was like, you're gonna know the moment that this is you again. And I got the message like 40 minutes ago. She was like, ramen.
Well, it's funny. I literally quoted like all her different lines in there. I'll read them to you guys. It was, we'll grab some Okinawa ramen. And I was like, okay, literally me. And then I'm okay. It's just a fracture. Crack. Like
we dealt with this with her thumb like 2 months ago.
Yeah. And I was like, it's fine. Hates black licorice. I hate black licorice.
Me too.
Do you know anyone who likes black licorice?
That was the funniest bit of this episode.
The tank top. I'm always wearing tank tops. Very rarely do I put my shirts on, and it's only for my Star Trek shirts. And I can climb up and reach it. Still has a broken arm. Because I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. Literally could not walk up and down stairs.
Oh man.
You know?
So
it's great.
This is probably in my top 3 favorite episodes of Lower Decks. Definitely top 3 this season. I have not usually been taking notes for these episodes because I watch them so many times, but I love this episode so much that I took notes. So note 1, I fucking love that Billups is royalty. Like he's royalty. He's literally got like paintings. Like the minute that you walk through the what do you call it? It's like the umbilical cord of the starships. It is actually called like the umbilical arm when you transfer personnel. And there's Billups like painted all over the wall. Like Billups. Fucking Billups.
Pinups.
Yeah.
He's royalty and he rejected it for Starfleet.
Yeah.
He did.
How can you not love that?
I love it.
He's the Spock of the Cerritos.
Of our times.
And then the fact that I think Hawk or Eric mentioned this already, just the fact that like all of their traditions and like the line of succession is all through sex, like line of succession.
Succession. I
Succession.
knew you were
Thank
gonna do
you.
it.
Yeah, I had to. Sorry.
Yay.
It's just it's brilliant. Like what a fun and dopey way to like incorporate sex into this episode in a really just funny but not offensive way at all. Like it was hilarious. Let's talk Boims, dude.
Boims.
This is my favorite part of this episode, and this is my favorite Boimler episode. I love his evolution in this because it's a mix, right, of his smarts. Because, like, listen, he can be like nerdy and awkward sometimes, right? But like, our man is smart, like super smart. And this is also a mix what he does in this episode of Mariner's edginess. He is like, she is finally rubbing off on him. And I love that. Using the computer right for his needs. Yeah. Okay. All right. I love that he just fully, in an episode that was kind of like about like D&D and reenactors, right? Like really playing the role of like desperate, I will, connect you to get off this planet. Like he played his role perfectly. And like, it may not seem like it for everyone, but like, I feel like this is just like a big step for like, I don't know, his career, right? Like Boimler of season 1 would not have made this decision, right? Even Boimler on the Titan early season 2 probably wouldn't have made this decision. And look at Mariner, right? When she realizes the act, she's so fucking proud of him. Her Chadich, like she's just like ready to go. And like, she's like, bravo, you fucking shot me. And I'm proud that you shot me. It was brilliant. She was stunned. Yeah, I love Tendy's love for Rutherford. If I still feel like that is headed towards romance. And then the other thing is too, this isn't just a milestone episode for Boimler. This is a milestone episode for Lower Decks. I really think that because it really stood on its own, I think, for the first time ever with barely any Easter eggs. There's some, but like they don't really define the episode at all. And for this to feel like Star Trek and just be as good as it was, like it was awesome. And maybe I missed some, but I don't think I did. Like this was just a great episode of Star Trek that did not need to reference other Star Trek to be amazing. And I loved it. So
I think what's cool too is that they're starting to put their own trend on things that we're going to see in other Star Trek. Like, for example, the joke about the names, I don't know, like, for example, Brad, it's Bradward. Sam is Samanthan. And now Andy is Andarithio. So what Jack is like Jack Nefer. I don't know, like what is it gonna be? Jackie Fawn.
Carol is Caralthian or something. Like.
Even Armagus. The name Armagus is like definitely derived from a couple different sources.
Oh, Agimus?
Yeah.
It's the computer. It's Latin, I think.
Yeah.
We do.
Because we're getting to a point, right, in Trek where Star Trek really isn't Star Trek if Jeffrey Combs isn't a part of it. Do you guys think this was a fun way to bring him back? And that being said, where else do we want to see him?
Everywhere.
He can be any random character in the show. Just
he needs to show up on Disco and on Strange New Worlds. Just get him on every show.
Listen, Dr. Boyce is still not cast. Just saying.
Fair.
You never know.
I like that he plays that manipulative character very well. And to see a computer do it is just also funny. Plus, it also got him into the press again, talking about Enterprise and how much he likes Enterprise. So, I can't fault him for that.
I'll take what we can.
He was great.
It's been a long road for him to get those interviews. So,
when is the anniversary, by the way? Isn't it?
It already passed.
We didn't do an episode on it.
Classic Enterprise.
It was the week after.
Sorry, but like
it was a week or two after 9/11. From what I remember. Yeah.
Was it Star Trek Day?
Yeah.
It may be.
Any other thoughts on Jeffrey Combs where you'd want to see him show up?
Manipulation, like and the fact that this computer, like it references those old TOS episodes and that, but all the computers either didn't have a voice or, had that robotic, so just him in there full deadpan, manipulative, and that, especially Boimler when he's getting dehydrated and that your hair looks very messy in that.
And your
Your
skin.
hair's patchy.
What do you mean my skin?
You can lose a couple pounds.
Scans indicate.
Yes. The fact that he identified Boimler as the weaker one to torment and to getting him to do what he wanted in that, and antagonizing Mariner at the same time.
Because Mariner right away was just like, oh, they're so chatty.
I'm actually a little sad this didn't do a little throwback to season 1 when Boimler said my bones. Like, and your bones like my bones.
That was great.
I think just like for like Jeffrey Combs, just like how hard must it be to voice a character that doesn't have a face?
Yeah,
Like,
It might be easier because you can emote however you want.
Yeah.
it's true.
true.
Yeah.
He was a very claptrap like robot instead of like, being so weird. Like he was very emotional, so it was nice.
Oh yeah, he panicked, like when he was being abducted. Starfleet, I'm being abducted.
I love when they buried him.
Oh, the crabs! The crabs! Right. I love the one little, like as Boimler is chasing the crabs, and like one little rebellious crab like looks back at him and like pinches at him, like pinch, and then like just pieces out.
Yeah.
He's like, move, crabs.
Yeah. Guys, this week we got to know a lot about Billups, like definitely more than any other member of the senior staff so far on the show, which I thought was shocking and actually really cool. One, what do you guys think about him being royalty? Like I said, my thing is like, that's just fucking cool. And then the big subject, and it's been talked about on Twitter, it's been talked about on our Discord server, is the way that, they handled sex. Do you think that his not wanting sex in Lower Decks, is telling us that maybe he is LGBTQ, possibly asexual? Or do you just think he doesn't give a shit about sex? And did they handle it right?
I think, sexuality, gender, all those things, it's a spectrum. It's fluid. So if he for sure identifies as asexual and that is the representation they were going for in the show, then I'm like, okay, that was awesome. I like that you had him stand up for what he wanted to do, and you also had Rutherford help him out, and nobody shamed him for not wanting to have sex. Like nobody on the ship was making fun of him because they're like, why don't you just have sex and become a king? Yeah, they're like Billups at the end. So you love to see that, and I'm fine with an infinite amount of LGBT characters happening on Star Trek. Like it's happening more in Disco, and now it's like, oh yes, give us more in Lower Decks. I'm here for it. But if it ends up not being that case, and it's just he just doesn't want sex right now in his life, or it just doesn't interest him, but he doesn't consider himself asexual, that's fine too. For a lot of people, these things are also stepping stones. Like when I was first struggling with coming out, sometimes I was like, you know what, I'm not really attracted to anybody. And in my brain, it's like, I'm not attracted to men. So I'm like, oh, I must be asexual. Like, I just don't want that with anybody. But then I kissed a girl and I was like,
And you like
never
that?
mind.
Ah, damn it.
Exactly. And I was like, But still, that being said, like, I'm one of those people that, like, if I decided to, like, be a monk and live on a mountain the rest of my life, and I'm like, I can't have sex with anybody, I could also be like, I can do that too. I'm fine with that. I'll survive. Depends on drives. So whatever you want, kids. Whatever
Good
you want.
answer.
I like the fact that he's royalty because it goes like with a long line of Trek characters that just like suddenly like, wait, what? Like, again, I'm going to reference like Journey to Babel, where it's like, oh yeah, the ambassador is my father. And everybody's like,
And you're like,
what?
Dun, 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 commercial break.
I like that. Like, it's like, again, like, I think we've seen in Trek, they're like putting themselves in the line. I like it. After for the fact of him like not wanting to have sex, I found in a way that it was too bad that he has to do it for a reason.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But on the other side, I thought about it because we talked about it on the Discord, and then I thought about it and I was like, how can in a plot how can they bring this without having that plot? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like people are not going to be like just randomly talking about like him not having sex for no reason.
Yeah. They're not like fixing the warp core, and they're like, so speaking of cores, why haven't you breached this one? And he's just like, well, it's not really my thing.
And I was reading, I don't know where I was reading this. I don't remember. Maybe Twitter. I don't remember. Somebody was saying like, oh yeah, is the anti-LaForge. So LaForge is always trying to get laid and never succeed. And everybody wants to sleep with Billups and he doesn't want to. And I was like,
Makes sense.
that's brilliant.
It is brilliant. I think that is definitely the case they're making there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the
One
anti-LaForge.
wants to LaForge relationships. The other one is like, it's not worth the bill up.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Oh, I know.
That's
Out.
what I said.
I like the idea that the two people of royalty that we've seen in Disco and in Lower Decks are both engineers or like thinkers, like
True.
Queen Poe
True.
and Billups. Like
Queen Poe.
that's just awesome. Like that, it shows that anyone, it doesn't matter if you're a king or queen or whatever. Like science is awesome. Science is what is more important than all of that. Like that's so cool.
Or like status. More like what's the status of our shields?
Ooh, that was a stretch.
I know. I
That was
thought
a
about like
stretch.
I was like they're gonna be mad if I make this joke, and I felt the shame immediately.
I love the fact that Billups is royalty and rejects it for a life in Starfleet and that. And I can kind of understand why in that, he's interior, I think he was pretty definitive in his statement, I guess it's asexual, but when he pronounced it, you're just going to have to put up with the fact that I'm going to be a virgin for my entire life. And he was definitive of that.
Yep.
God. And I kind of get where he's coming from in that, when you have that little glimpse of their Rensfair culture and that, it's like, it's great that they're fluid and that they, they enjoy sex and that, but, at the same time, sometimes it seems a little over the top in that when he was talking about running the diagnostic and that, I'll have to run a full diagnostic from the bottom and that, and on the way out.
Oh yeah, and she was like, you can run a diagnostic from my bottom up. That's the funny dude, I'm telling you, that is the line this episode where I was like, give that woman a fucking Emmy. Like, please find this voice actor. Like, the way she said that.
Not
oh
only
my
the
God.
voice acting, the animators, like with the way that they made their eyes look so fucking disappointed when like Rutherford comes in and saves him. Oh, the disappointment.
The fact that they were already sitting like that on the bed too, and they're like, he's in the bathroom, and he's like trying to get warmed up.
Oh God, it's very cold in space, as Khan would say.
Did his kingdom come? I lost it.
Yeah. Yep.
Guys,
that Royal Guard was voiced by Carrie Walgreen.
Way to go, Carrie.
Way to go, Carrie. Awesome.
You have a Twitter. I'm following you now.
There you go. I know that I specifically talked about this already. But I felt like Boimler took a big step towards like his career and just like being a stronger person and like stronger Starfleet officer this week. What are your thoughts about his actions on the planet? I know we kind of talked about it, but like I feel like this was really like a big step for him.
Oh, I know Carrie. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I just looked her up. I didn't know the name, but I recognize her.
Yeah. I like where he's going. Like, I like that he's been continually growing and growing through both seasons, and especially after everything that happened on the Titan and all, like he's coming into his own, and I like that.
Yeah.
And especially with that whole.
There's so many sections.
God damn it.
Sorry, I tried to hold it in, but I was like.
the whole officer training thing from last week, like it wasn't great, but I could see where he's headed, and you can see like even with that little speech last week, you can see that him grow just from then on. Like it's fantastic. I love Boimler.
And I think they started like drawing him a little bit different, no? In this episode. Did you notice this? I don't know. Maybe it was because the story was so good.
I think he's just grown so much,
Maybe sitting up more upright. Remember last week when
I feel like he's like, yeah.
He's confident now. He'll shoot his best friend. He won't hesitate. Every time they slid down the sand, I kept like waiting to hear Ray's theme, like do 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 do.
Anything else on Boimler before we move on to our Easter egg hunt?
There was a lot of growth for him this week, and the fact that he at the end he kind of took control of that, and it's like he had a plan, that he wasn't just being manipulated by this thing.
Are you guys saying he's a grower? Not a show.
A man
He's
with
a
a
grower,
plan.
not a shower. Nice
Mm.
one.
All right, folks.
Julian's like, I gotta segue out of here real quick.
I'm looking
The
for some
lesbian's out
kind
of
of like
control.
innuendo and segue, but I don't think there is one, so I'm just gonna do it.
In your window. What? Sorry, bye.
Just shut up.
This pandemic's been 2 years, okay? Let me make as many jokes as I need.
It's time for the Easter egg hunt. Does anybody have anything that they would? Yeah, go ahead.
My favorite one, there's a couple I liked, but my favorite one is during the evil computer like jail scene at the end. One of the computers has a CBS logo on it.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
No way.
I love it.
I was looking to see if there were any Easter eggs on the
Wait.
computers. Yeah, go ahead.
The one with the happy face thing just underneath.
I can't remember. I just remember seeing the logo and
We gotta see
laughing.
a screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked when they all lit up at the end. It was great.
I'll do one that I think is important. I like when Jeffrey Combs, I'm just going to call him Jeffrey Combs, the evil computer, comes into his final form and he's talking about the murder drones, and those murder drones are right out of Arsenal of Freedom from season 1 of TNG.
Oh.
Whoa! I just
Yeah.
rewatched that. I
Yeah.
rewatched it like the other day too.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the Okinawa and ramen Easter egg. I thought that was
You're
funny.
right.
Like,
As soon as I heard that, I was like, this is my moment.
because of the Daystrom Institute, right? Because it's in Okinawa, so that's why she wanted the ramen.
Yeah.
Hold on. Talek says the podcast is devolving quickly, to which I say,
What?
never.
Never.
Bold of you to assume you're ever above that level.
That's a good point too. Any other Easter eggs? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't.
know
It's not a Trike Easter egg per se, but I think the name Moravine is the name of a famous horse.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's a horse on the ship, so
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
like like Secretaria, like a famous like prize winning horse or something like
Mhm.
that. The Moravine.
yeah.
I found it was neat. I'm not sure though. Maybe I'm making this up. Totally possible.
It was cool. It was cool to see the Daystrom
believe it.
Institute.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a runabout from DS9, and they were wearing the proper
Runabout.
DS9 gray tops that we see on the Titan as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hard pressed to find much.
That's
in
the
way of Easter
thing.
eggs.
Well,
in
right?
this
didn't
one.
they talk about Data's head being buried or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They do.
that part made me laugh.
That
And
was a
then-
Mark Twain episode.
It's like, that's not the same.
I did love that Boimler Mariners plot this week was based around Picard and Wesley's in what was it?
Oh, yeah. No, the
the final mission.
final mission where, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Does Jeffrey Combs count as an Easter egg?
Yes, I have him at the top, and I just have Jeffrey fucking Combs listed
Yeah.
number 1 Easter egg.
Number one Easter
So
egg.
yes, yes, he does.
I loved the bard that messed with their comms
Yep.
because he played like literally it was like dissonant chord. and
Sonic
it, like,
resonance? Or,
messed it up. Yeah, exactly. It, like messed up the frequency. I wanted him to taunt so bad,
yeah, me too.
but he was just kind of like, ugh, like got knocked over.
Vicious mockery.
SMK, if you go back and watch the episode, yes, when Rutherford is running through the halls of the ship to get back to the Cerritos, there's a horse. He goes, "Get out of my way, horse!"
Move,
there's
Jennifer.
a horse on the ship. Yeah. Move. It was definitely a Jennifer.
It was horse
moment.
Jennifer.
Speaking
I mean,
of,
Picard has a horse saddle.
Yeah, he has
on
a
their
saddle.
Enterprise. Why
I have-
not a horse?
I have to give a shout out to our guest from last week,
His
David
friend.
Majors,
It's
who,
Mel.
much like all of us, is a Jennifer stan. So we're Jennifer stans on the show. Let's rate this one, guys. I did 5, which is our other show. Out of 10 evil computers.
10.
10 out of 10 evil computers, because you can't just have one ever in any sci-fi. There's always more.
Yeah, and Twitch, give us your ratings too.
I will give it a 9.5 purely because not enough D&D in it.
Yep, you're right.
I will give it a 9 out of 10. All around strong. The Tendi part was a little weak this week, I would say, but she did have that great little line at the end of that where she was saying, "Oh, so I guess thinking one of the crew members is dead is just going to be part of the typical, that they're here,"
And she's
Yep.
like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that. Not really, no."
which is a wonderful reference.
gonna
to,
be a
like,
weekly
another
thing,
Star Trek
right?
trope. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for me too. I really liked it. It's a good episode. Works.
I'm gonna go against what Brittany said last week because she thinks that I only give high scores to good 10D episodes, and I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
Woo!
It's one of my top 3 episodes of Lower Decks. I love this episode so much. Let's get to the Twitch answers. And Sci-Fi Haven Gaming gives it an 11 out of 10. Turn it up to 11, baby. J Craps App 10 King Billups. Yes. Lexi 8 Sexy Guards out of 10. Talix 10 out of 10 Jeffrey Combs characters. Love it.
So every single Star Trek character he's done.
Every single one. Ow. All right, guys, let's get to the subspace poll and mailbag.
Hailing frequencies are open.
Oh, wrong one.
Yep. Wrong one. And I did not have time to put these in the outline, so I'm just going to read them right off Twitter. We asked you this week what you thought simply about Lower Decks Season 2, Episode 7. And this is what the Twitterverse had to say. 52% said Jeffrey Combs. 23% said Jeffrey Combs. 26% said failed sexperiment. And 0% said Royal Nightmare.
Nice.
People really like this episode,
It's
which
a
is
good episode.
awesome.
It's just
very
a fun
good
standalone episode.
Yeah.
Nothing too wild.
I honestly thought about making the whole poll just Jeffrey Combs, but
But like different
Intonations.
caps, lowercase.
yeah, exactly. Like
Jeffrey Combs question mark. Sad for
Jeffrey Combs.
crossed out Jeffrey Combs.
Oh,
We have the same amount of syllables. Brittany Tomes, Jeffrey Combs.
You're a voice actor. He's a voice actor and actor.
Let's meet up,
Let's do it.
Jeffrey. wherever you are.
Mailbag time, folks. Who wants to read our first one? Havens.
I will take that one.
All right.
I was extremely disappointed with last week's Lower Decks, but this week I had high hopes hearing Jeffrey Combs was returning to Star Trek's Lower Decks. As someone who is a non-binary demisexual, I was slightly worried with how they were going to treat Billups and his very apparent asexuality, with the fact that if he lost his virginity, he would automatically become king. If anyone doesn't know, well, a person who is demisexual, like myself, is part of the ace spectrum. So I won't lie, I was thinking while watching this and seeing some of the messages in the spoiler chat, I was afraid it was going to be attacking what I consider to be a big part of me. But I'm actually okay with how they explored it. I had to watch this episode today in part due to my new job, and I was afraid we were going to lose one of my personal favorites, but I am so happy we didn't lose Rutherford. Did anyone else see any connections to Billups' mother to Luoxana Troy?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I did my second rewatch, all I could see was Luoxana when the Queen was on the screen.
That's because they're both Troy hards.
Are you
My
kidding me?
God.
I just love. I just do it to hear the Mariner soundbite because I'm like, yes, go off.
Also, I am so excited that Combs returned. He is my favorite recurring guest star on Trek through the 55 years of Trek since September 66, even though I wasn't born for 20 years later.
Yep. That's fair.
It's fair. Yeah. I do want to talk about this real quick. I feel like everybody in our spoiler chat was very respectful though. And the conversations were very good. Everybody talked about it nicely and did it well. And this is why I love
Because we
our Discord
LGBT
collective.
friendly.
Yeah, hardcore. So, who wants to take Fernandez?
Me.
Hit it.
I'll rank this as one of the strongest of the season. The plots were coherent. We saw some very nice character development for Boimler, Rutherford, and Billups. The pace was nice, and I did not see time passing. Jeffrey Combs was amazing, giving Agamus a Weyern manipulative rat quality. That's amazing. Sorry, I didn't read this ahead of time, so I was like, wow, what a sentence. That I so much missed. Billups' sexuality topic was treated with respect and seriousness, albeit humor and lightness. Toxic manipulative mother topic was treated in a very Star Trek manner. Agreed. Firm, however diplomatic. Very good Star Trek episode.
I'm gonna
diplomatic.
Yeah.
Right, firm yet
I love Fernandez mailbags. They're always so good.
They're like, I'm never prepared for like some of the sentences I read, and I'm always like, this is like, I wish I could take this to like the Oxford Dictionary and be like show a perfect sentence. Somewhere in here is a perfect sentence I was not prepared for.
Oh man. I'm gonna take Lexi's because I really want to read it. I'm a pretty sex positive person, so I've always appreciated that Trek's been fairly open with its approach to sexual topics. Only problem is sometimes it misses the mark and comes off like a horny teenager, a bit on the sleazy side. I am indeed looking at you in particular, Enterprise, and Into Darkness. Well said. It's nice to know that in this instance, they handled Billups' asexuality and the general horniness of everything else gracefully. Mike McMahon, we need to know. Mike McMahon, we need to know. Riemann Dungeon Orgy went. The people demanded. To which I say,
people? Which people?
The Riemanns.
Obviously, Lexi. I mean, shit, I've watched it. Fuck,
There's gonna be orgasms. There's.
Who wants to take SMK?
I'll do SMK.
That was amazing.
Whew. Okay, scene. So many folks here have expressed insightful commentary on the Billups plot, and I don't think I can add much to that discussion. My only comment is I enjoyed the Ren Fair jokes a ton. The Boimler Mariner plot I thought was really great. I especially enjoyed Boimler pushing back on Mariner for interfering in his career, even if he amped it up to deceive the evil computer. He called her on her crap and demonstrated that he is growing. People who self-assign themselves as mentors often only want to exert control over others to make themselves feel important. I don't think that this is what Mariner has been doing, but honest communication between these two is keeping them both honest and their relationship healthy. Great episode. I think it's the best of the season to date.
Yay! We love a good, healthy relationship with good boundaries. Let's go.
Indeed,
good
we
communication.
do. And Giraffe, that leaves you with Aaron's. What a shock.
my podcast wife.
Yeah. WTC.
So Erin wrote, I did see the episode. She texted me about it, so I know she did. I did see the episode and I liked it. Billups choosing his own destiny and giving up sex forever for it is pretty intense, but also funny. I loved his people and their ship and the whole vibe. It was wild. Points to Tandy for not giving up on Rutherford and Rutherford about Billups' choices and fighting for him. Also, Mariner and Boimler with the evil computer and all the gross licorice was really fun. Boimler is really growing as a character. I think Mariner will trust him a bit more after this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well said, Ensign Admiral Aaron.
We talk about how that line, black licorice, dry.
Dry. I just need water, damn it.
Please. Black licorice, dry.
Oh, and the fact that they got the fruit.
The fruit.
And, like,
Why does this taste
water like liquid on the inside? And she's like, why does it taste like black?
And then this is where that soundbite comes in and she goes,
Are you f***ing kidding me?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I can see Tawny in the booth yelling that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Apparently I was too loud for the Riemann paragraph and people couldn't hear it because I was laughing too loud.
It was really funny. Riemann Dungeons, Haven. That's all you need to know. Riemann Sex Orgy Dungeons. There you go.
Is it because we were laughing?
Yeah,
so
we were
hard?
laughing too.
Yes, we were laughing too hard. You can hear it in the podcast just fine. That's what audio podcasts are for. Speaking of podcasts, that is the end of this one. We will be back as always next week for another review of Star Trek Lower Decks. Guys, 3 more episodes.
But like the taste of black licorice, we will linger.
We
you
do
will
linger.
want more.
We will linger, and
You will
so
want
will
more.
you.
You won't know why.
It will persist.
And we
will
are an
persist.
acquired taste.
We are a collective. So for Brittany, for Eric, for Giraffe, for Hawk, I am Julian. I say to you, live long and prosper. Majram. See you next week.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.